Hi. I've got my headphones on. Oh, trying to do too much. Yeah, I just did that intro. It's too long, but I I don't know. It takes so long to do everything. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people are just super fast. I'm not. I take a lot of time to I don't know. Maybe it just takes me longer. I think it takes everybody a long time. It's a lot of work, and I've been racking my brain for days, like trying to figure out a way to make money, you know, and because I got to make more money. I need money. I need money. We went to the food bank today. Just stop by. I was up so late last night trying to figure out how to do this. Um, I'm going to be using AI to make some money. I'm good with AI filmmaking, and um, I gotta do something. Nobody else is giving me what's mine, so I have to do something. And I was up too late last night, and I wasn't. Dean is always sleeping in. I usually get up early, but I couldn't get up this morning. It was just too hard, so I couldn't get down to the food bank at 9. But we stopped by there later. Dean had an appointment that we brought him to, and afterwards, after 3 p.m., we stopped by just to kind of figure out how often we can go to the pantry, which is there's two, on Mondays and Fridays, Wegmans, which is a local grocery store chain, delivers food. And you can go Monday and Tuesday. I mean, Friday and Monday, and as supplies last, you can get some food. Those 2 days. But we found out today we can only go to the pantry twice a month. Which is those like the official pantry, and we didn't get. We didn't qualify for very much food. It was really the enough food for. I thought it was once a week. It's really enough food for maybe one person in a week, but I guess they just figure you'll come by every Monday and Friday to get extra food to supplement that, because and I think we got more than we should have. They gave us a number that I heard was not the number we really are. I don't know. Maybe they think we can buy a little food. No, we don't have any money for any food, but we're okay. I mean, we were gonna last the weekend until Monday. my dogs are running out of food. But, we were gonna be okay. It was just nice to get some last leftovers scraps. They said they were all out, but there were a few things, and, we grabbed some things. Dean has discovered his love of peaches. Instead of eating sugar, he's eating peaches, and I'm really happy he's eating more healthy than he's ever eaten because we just don't have the money for all his junk food. And, when junk food is around, I it's hard for me, and I might have a little bit of it, but not very much. I've always eaten more healthy than Dean, and, you've seen that. I guess you can see from my face I've lost a little weight. It's not very much. It's Dean who's lost a lot of weight. He weighs, like, 162 now, and he used to weigh 200 pounds, really slim, and I guess that is his natural weight. I mean, he was heavy, eating all that junk, carries it well, better than I do. Um, anyway, all right. So I haven't prepared. I haven't looked at all the news. I just my um I've been remembering more about Jeffrey Epstein though since all this came up. About him still being alive. I remember how he used to say to me, "Oh, when you grow up, you're gonna have to work all this out, boy." Um, I remember him saying that, like, "You're gonna have a lot to get out of your system when you get older." That's what he told me. Something to that effect. I'm like, "What do you mean?" But yeah, um, yeah, I mean, I guess I couldn't share that, what I'm considering doing because I'm desperate. I don't have I mean, I have all these business opportunities that are around. Um, but everything costs money. And what I'm thinking of doing, since I'm really good with AI, I mean, I really love AI filmmaking, is just create an AI influencer who, on a not OnlyFans, they don't allow AI influencers, but FanView and Fanly does. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm not gonna tell you which platform I've chosen, and I'm certainly not gonna tell you who the influencer. I mean, I haven't even created her yet, but it's pretty, like, lifelike. It's pretty shocking. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and, hey, it's not a human being. See, that's always my issue. I could never sell my body. I could never. I hate that women sell their bodies. I hate it. They're not objects. They're human beings that deserve respect. And I know women in particular, people who go into that adult industry, they, I know they want to make money and they make lots of it, I guess. But they can't do it forever. I mean, there's a price. A lot of them die of drug overdoses, and I don't know. It's not healthy for a woman to be treated the way they're treated in that industry. And yeah, a woman can make a lot of money if and everything, but it's not worth it. And I've personally known, strippers and people like that. And, obviously they're working out their what happened to them when they were children. Um, and that empowers them to some extent. But there's it's a tragedy, really. I mean, because they allow people, they have to make the money to treat them, allow others, men, to treat them like objects, and it's very sad. It wears them down. It does. It burns them out, and whether they think they might think they're in control, but they're not. It's just because you're the woman, the female. It's different for men than it is for women, and women. I know men that's their thing. they the testosterone in their body creates this situation where they have this drive to treat women like objects, I guess, but we're not objects. We're human beings. We're whole people, and that's the problem. Don't even get into the discussion of children, who aren't fully developed, who are just trying to grow up. I mean, don't even go there. Everybody has to be an adult and give their full permission. But anyway, I'm considering. I think I'm gonna have to do that. I mean, I think that would be. I mean, I don't know if it sounds like it's a lot of work, and um, a lot of work. And I mean, I thought people made, and they do. Some people make a lot of money, and they're usually men, who are creating these AI women. It's not women. It's the men that know what men want, right? And I mean, there's communication, there's interaction. I don't know. I mean, I would just like to just put some stuff up and be paid, but I don't know. It might be a little too it won't be maybe it's not passive enough for me. I don't know. I might not like it. I don't know. I'm just thinking that it might be a good way for me to make money as fast as possible, because nobody wants to pay me for my life experience. Apparently nobody cares about my life experience or what I have to say about anything. It will take, I'll be 80 years old before I get monetized on YouTube. So I mean, unless I'm in the press, the media, which is not happening because I'm classified top secret. um it's not gonna happen. I mean, I will not be respected for any of my life experience. I cannot be compensated for it because I'm top secret, because everybody thinks I'm crazy, because everybody doesn't believe me. They think I'm just making this up, like it's just from my crazy mind or something. I mean, like anyone could make up all this stuff. I mean, it's just unbelievable, everything that has happened. And I guess it's because it's in so unbelievable that people can't accept it unless it's presented to them on a tray, in the media. But nobody, I'm top secret. I'm continue to be top secret. I've been top secret for 50 years, since I was 9 years old, as you can see on the screen. So, I mean, it's like I'm a piece of garbage that just belongs, I don't know, just throw it in the garbage, me in the garbage. I'm not worth anything without my life experience, being able to talk about my life experience. And it colors everything that I do. I have a depth of wisdom that nobody cares about. Apparently, it's like useless and worthless in this world. And I guess it's very depressing, that who I truly am is just not meaningful to anyone. And I'm sitting here all by myself.
Except me.
I know, Dean, of course Dean came into the room, moments, a little while ago here, as I started, I think, right? You came in when I was starting, right? I saw you come in. I just am trying to explain it to the audience when you came in. He's been here for a little time. Yeah, so I don't know what else to do for money. I mean, yeah, I've gone through so many things. There's so many people who have come into my life to try to present me with some kind of business opportunity, right? But it's always so expensive, and I don't have money to spare. So, and I'm worried that if I get into this, I'm going to spend money on certain things that I need to create this, to create the content, and then not make any money. I mean, it'll just be another project I cast aside because I can't make money. It's like, I don't know. I'm just, I've made money before, but doing things I don't really want to do. And yeah, I'll do it again. I don't know. Just really frustrated that no one will let me have my life. I'm supposed to just, like, a human being is a product of their experience, their life experience, and I guess I'm supposed to just pretend that none of that my whole reality is fake and it doesn't exist. I'm that is the message I am that is being communicated to me. What you went through, Claire, speaking as I don't know who is responsible for my situation. Okay, I don't know who is, but whoever is, CIA, NSA, FBI, US government, worldwide media, I don't know. Whoever it is that's responsible for my situation, Trump, whatever. I guess all of my life, my extensive 59 years of torture, torment, and victory over all of that torment and torture means nothing. I guess all of the hard earned life experience, all of I had I was forced to attain enlightenment to overcome my life experience. I was forced again and again and again. I mean, there's no other way to overcome and survive what I went through. You have to find that enlightenment door. You have to find that's the escape. That's the only escape route when you are tortured, um and tormented, etc. There's no other way out but through going, becoming a Buddha. There's no other way. Otherwise, you die. All the other worlds, like in Nichiren Buddhism, I guess I should review for some people who don't know what I'm talking about. There are 10 worlds in Nichiren Buddhism. The lowest world being hell, of course, and the highest world being Buddhahood. Buddhahood is the 10th world. The first world is hell. And I mean, I can go through all of them, but I mean, this is not supposed to be a Nichiren Buddhist lesson right now. I mean, I guess it is because it's my life. It's hell, hunger, animality. I mean, forgive me if I forget a few. Um, Animality, and then anger, and then what is it after that? Isn't it humanity? And then rapture. I have lost count, but like rapture, which is like another word, like heaven is another world that it's referred to. And you sure some Buddhists say, oh, see, heaven is not the highest world, but that's not, I think they're talking about a different kind of heaven. Okay, I don't think you can compare that heaven, which is like rapture, like, oh, like when you're just so overjoyed and everything, just like so happy and overjoyed. That's not what heaven is in Christianity. Okay, heaven is a place you go when you die, right? Where God is waiting for you and all the angels, right? Traditionally, um, it's where the good people go, right? That's not rapture and joy. I mean, yeah, I mean, but I think in the Christian perspective, everybody in heaven is not like all the time. It's just like this peaceful spiritual realm that envelopes you in the clouds, and you're a good person, you made it, kind of thing. It's not this electric joy. So I don't really think, that's a little thing that a lot of Nichiren Buddhists say. Oh yeah, heaven is not the highest world in Nichiren Buddhism. It's just this, I think, isn't it like the sixth world or something? And then after heaven, I mean, I don't know. Did I get it confused? Like, humanity, is that after heaven? I mean, maybe I was just the lower worlds, are just temporary situations. They're temporary states of life. And then when you get to the higher worlds, they're more long standing and permanent, or at least they're not as temporary. And basically, and the lower worlds are affected by what's around you, whereas the upper worlds, or is that the term? higher worlds, it comes from within you. It's not something outside of you that's making it. You're not feeling the way you're not. Your state of life is not determined by outside stimuli. It's determined by interior stimuli. You're not being pushed around by the environment in the higher worlds. And you enter the higher worlds with learning and realization, but they're nasty, that learning and realization, because it's all about you. It's no longer, you're not yet thinking of other people outside yourself, to help. You're just thinking of yourself, and you're realizing, you're learning and thinking you're so brilliant, and then realizing other things, and then thinking you're so brilliant, and you think you know it all. I mean, that's the danger of learning and realization. It's called the two vehicles, and it's like the stumbling block of most people, and the stumbling block to enlightenment. It's kind of like, that's where the wall, you have the brick wall until you can realize, to have that moment where, and it's through realization that maybe you realize that you need to put other people ahead of yourself to actually achieve enlightenment. It's through bodhisattvahood. Bodhisattvahood is the gateway to Buddhahood. There's no other way to Buddhahood but through bodhisattva, putting others ahead of yourself. Kind of like Mother Teresa. She was the epitome of that. And I mean, there's no Buddhahood without bodhisattva. And that's why Nichiren Daishonin was called a bodhisattva of the earth, the leader of the bodhisattvas of the earth. And that's who I'm supposed to be. But you'd never know that, because this leader of the bodhisattvas of the earth has been thrown away, actually just thrown in the dirt to die. She hasn't been allowed to emerge from the earth. They have like this big boulder over my head. No, you can't emerge. SGI has this big boulder on top of me. No, you can't. No. They think I'm the obstacle to kosen-rufu, but it's actually the other way around. It's the SGI trying to control me, the leader. I am supposed to be the leader of the bodhisattvas of the earth. You'd never know it. They've got me like, they keep me down. Yeah, we're gonna cheat. Yeah, look at our earth. Yeah, we've got kosen-rufu, don't we? Without Claire, there is no kosen-rufu. Okay, I'm just letting you know that right now. And I think that's pretty clear. Look at it. Look at our world. It sucks, man. Doesn't it suck? I mean, we're all going to hell. You like this ride? You like this ride to hell? Okay, yeah. Get used to it, because without me, that's where we're going. And I'm so uncomfortable. I have nothing to do. I mean, I don't know why I exist. I guess I'm just my life was just a waste of time. It was just a waste of time. I don't know why I'm still on the earth. I don't know why I still live. Why? I should be dead. I died many times, and I was brought back again and again and again by heaven, again and again and again. I mean, not even Jesus Christ got to live. I mean, I live. Jesus died. This is new level. Okay, this is another level. This is the next level. And who is it that's obstructing me? Keeping me down? SGI. Soka Gakkai of America. I don't blame the Soka Gakkai in Japan. They're not in control. I mean, they are, it's protected over there in Japan from SGI-USA. Thank goodness. I don't know. SGI-USA thinks they're in total dominion, that they're in control, but they don't understand that that's not the way to kosen-rufu. They're stuck in that learning and realization. They're not thinking of the world. They're not being bodhisattvas. They're not thinking of the world. They're just thinking of themselves. Oh, we got to keep her down because she's going to like tell all our secrets, and then nobody will want to join the SGI. Oh, she's the obstacle to kosen-rufu. Well, I haven't seen the SGI create any kosen-rufu. Have you? I mean, look at our world. What is the SGI doing? They're not doing something. I mean, nothing's happening in this world. I guess I don't know. I wish I had, it'd be fine if everybody said, "Okay, Claire, we don't need you. Here's a little bit of money, just to have a decent life, and just we're just paying you off to be quiet and just leave us alone so we can take over, hijack your job and be the new Jogyo, the new leader of the bodhisattvas of the earth. We're the leaders. You just need to stay over there." But no, they don't give me enough money to live, to be comfortable, nothing. I mean, they think that I don't know, maybe they think I'm just gonna keel over dead one day. I'm just gonna sit in my little box here in New York State. I'm in New York State now. I'm not in Georgia anymore. I'm in New York State, the Empire State. This is where my money began. It's where my ancestors, my maternal lineage comes from New York State. This is where it all began. This is where Jose Toda came and put his money in my grandma's hands. Yeah, I'm a little frustrated right now. Anyway, so I guess I went through all the worlds, right? I think that was 10. I mean, I think so. I mean, if I forgot one or two, go look it up. Yes, SGI. You can go to SGI-USA.org, or com will work just fine too. And go, search for 10 worlds. They have it all at their website. Okay. They have it all managed, they're supposed to be assisting me, and I contributed so much to all their writings, over in the SGI, and contributed my entire life and everything, but they've just hijacked it all, and they just take credit for it all. They're just rehashing all my writings again and again, and yeah, that's kosen-rufu. Yeah, keep President Ikeda alive, keep him going. That's kosen-rufu. Your leader is dead. Yeah, that's kosen-rufu. That's just like the temple, if you ask me. Dead. I guess if you're dead, well, I guess yeah, you can't achieve kosen-rufu. And that's why you're having such a hard time. Don't lie and say you're not having a hard time. You are. It's a slander. What you're doing is slandering me. And do you know how grave that is? Do you know what a grave, in Nichiren Buddhism, there's slander. They're there's the, what is it? How many slanders? There's different numbers. There's different I should look this up just because it's just coming up, and I guess I need to discuss it. Okay. Oh, slander in Nichiren. Let's just say SGI Buddhism, just so we get their perspective, because I need to put that perspective back in their face. Moko is the Japanese term for slander. It's the act of denying or denigrating the inherent Buddha nature within oneself or others. Yeah, you're denying mine. You want to keep me down. You want me buried underground, a secret forever and ever, obstructing, and by doing so, you obstruct Buddhism. I mean, kosen-rufu, which is world peace in Nichiren Buddhism. It's like world peace, one person at a time. This is the person they're trying to keep down, and I am the connection. I have the life that is going to achieve kosen-rufu on Earth. Okay, it's one person at a time, and I'm the one person with all the connections and situations and everything that will create world peace on Earth. But SGI wants me to go away because I make the SGI look really bad, because the SGI will not survive the truth. Well, some form of it will survive. The truth will survive. And that's what needs to survive. Not all this stuff they're trying to keep going, because it doesn't work, obviously, because it's a lie. It says further, and it can be expressed through thought, word, or deed. It includes, I'm talking about slander. It includes internal states like jealousy, hatred, and contempt toward fellow practitioners, as well as external acts of false accusations, which is, I'm the victim of that. That is for sure. And destructive criticism. Slander is considered one of the most serious offenses, creating negative karma and hindering one's spiritual progress and ability to realize benefits from their Buddhist practice. Yeah. I wonder why the organization for kosen-rufu on Earth can't achieve kosen-rufu. What's going on? What's wrong? It's because of how this organization slanders me. And I'm sorry, I have to be direct. Okay, I am the leader. Okay, I am supposed to be the central figure. I'm not trying to be some dictator. I'm not trying to stroke my ego. I'm just explaining how it works. And in Nichiren Buddhism, when you believe in the power of the mystic power of cause and effect through sound. So inner slander, it's right, denying your own Buddha nature, jealousy, contempt, or hatred. Okay, that's looking down on them or bearing ill will. That's what's being done to me. Jealousy of others' successes or achievements. Yeah, I guess they're upset about my achievements, and they want to discredit me because I point out their lies. Denying your own Buddha nature by believing you are worthless or incapable of building a great life. Yeah, maybe they're causing me to slander myself. I'm making a point. I really don't believe that I'm worthless or incapable of building a great life. I just know others prevent me from being all that I can be. I mean, that's a fact. There are people obstructing my life and obstructing kosen-rufu as the result. I am capable of building an incredible life, but I'm not being allowed to build that incredible life because I'm still top secret. And why am I still top secret? Because a member of the SGI, who at the time, the SGI was called NSA back in 1975, July 23rd, 1975, when I was classified top secret by by Larry Shaw, who was a leader, a YMD leader. He was 30 years old, approximately, and he mislabeled me a threat to national security, as you can see on my screen, and this is how I was mislabeled a threat to national security and classified as top secret. And I'm still, that was over 50 years ago at this point. I'm 59, almost 60. And it's time. I was promised I would be declassified. I thought it was last year because we were in 1994. 30 years later would be 2024. But they were dealing with 1995. They were getting ready ahead of 1995. 1995, which would have been 20 years exactly, from 1975. It's so tiring talking about. Okay, so outer slander, misrepresenting the teachings. For example, by denigrating the Lotus Sutra or the three treasures, Buddha. It says Dharma and Sangha. Those are not terms we use in Nichiren Buddhism. I don't know where Google gets these. It's the Buddha, the object of worship, and the Buddhist community, right? The community of Buddhists, right? And that's what a Sangha is. Dharma, I don't know what Dharma means. It's not a term we use in Nichiren Buddhism. It's from another form of Buddhism. But Sangha, I guess, is like an Indian term or something for community of believers. Spreading false accusations. That's just what Larry Shaw did, and that's what leadership did to contain Claire and keep her down. They call, they claim I'm delusional. I mean, Larry, he was not a psychologist back in 1975. He had studied psychology in college, but he didn't have any license to practice, and he didn't even talk to me or have any kind of complete conversation with me. And I mean, that's a whole, I mean, I've talked about it again and again. And he abused his authority, later when he did become licensed, and claiming that I'm some, I have some, okay. Jill Shively from the O.J. Simpson case. She has a younger brother named Michael McCoy. Let's just call him out because she's a public figure. So her brother is a public figure, okay? And he's gay. And he is really furious that I went out with David, who is the real killer, the true killer of my brand new husband, Ron Goldman, in 1994. He thinks that I don't know what he thinks. I don't know why he's so upset. I mean, he swears up and down that he always swore that David was gay. And I knew David wasn't gay. I knew the way he looked at me. And of course, when I started going out with him, I knew he wasn't gay. I mean, he might be bisexual. This is because, I know his partner in crime, they had a little sexual thing. But he's not gay. He likes women. He is obsessed with women to the point of, everybody accusing Brian Koberger of being an incel. He is kind of. But it doesn't mean that he's never been with women or anything like that. He has a fear, an intense fear of intimacy because he was sexually, I'm using these words that YouTube doesn't like. He was SA'd by his mother. Okay. When that happens, when women do that to men, they destroy men. They can't handle intimacy. Everything, is fine as long as it's not intimate. This is how you get like a whole industry, adult industry. That's what happens. They can't connect. They can't be intimate, in the truest sense. Women are objects to control, because their mother controlled them. So that's how they act out, and they can't allow a woman to control them again. That's the psychology of it. And so they have to control the woman. And this is, men that are addicted to, that have prostitutes, stuff like that. Escorts, they can't, they got to keep women. They had to be in control of women. They can't let women too close, right? It's very sad what happens to a man when their mother violates, that trust and those boundaries. And that's what happened to David. Okay. And so he has issues with women. And yeah, a lot of gay men do they become gay. Yeah, that might be the beginning of a lot of men's journey into gayhood. Yes, but it's not. But David did not want to be gay. He dreamt of getting married and having a family, which is really unrealistic considering, he just killed people every so often on the side. It's, how are you going to have I mean, he led a double life, and but what kind of life is that? You have a family and you're out, unaliving people left and right. You're getting off on it, and then you come home to the kids and the wife and pretend that you're a normal person. You can only do that so long. I mean, my father did it his whole life and died back in 2020. And my stepmother, is so angry at me for turning him into, for reporting it to the police that he was the Zodiac killer. She's so angry. I guess she thinks, I mean, I don't know. I'm just wondering, okay, does she believe me and she doesn't want anyone else to know? Does she know it somehow, some way? I mean, I would think a part of her would know it. Being married to him, she was in his life for a very long time. But it's, our family has always coped by being in denial. And you can't believe that about your husband. I know. And so you have to paint a false reality for yourself and your children. And, I guarantee Inez, that's my stepmother, I guarantee your children, at least Jordan knows the truth. If not all your children, all three. I guarantee you. And they keep it secret, yes. Dad, my father, he confided in me when I was a young child. And he confided in his second family. He had, I know the eldest, he confided in him. I know he did. I don't know if he confided in his other children, his younger children, those three. There was my brother and me, when in the 60s, I was born in 65. My younger brother was born in 68. And I won't get into the details of his birth. And you see him in my little introduction. I made an AI little clip out of us. And then my father went and married somebody else in, I guess, in 1989. And they had 3 children together. And yeah, I guarantee, at least Jordan knows the truth. At least maybe all your children know the truth, Inez. And I know she doesn't want me talking about them. Well, they're all adults, okay? We're all adults here. They're not children anymore. They're not minors. I wouldn't talk about minors. Well, actually, the other day I did mention a name. I did. Of a minor. But, I don't know this is the truth, and the truth heals. That's the point of telling the truth. It heals. It doesn't, I know people live these double lives. They think they got to hide their skeletons in the closet, and they think they're doing a good job. It works. They haven't had a problem. I guess they're able to function, but it's not a healthy thing. And when you get to the end of your life, you have to face the truth. If you don't face it in life, you're going to have to face it in death. And you don't want to have a lot of processed. You don't want to have too much unprocessed at death. You don't want that. I believe me, in life is when you need to process everything. Not when you die. I hear somebody meowing, Dean.
Yeah.
Who is that? Is that Sandy?
No.
Nobody outside. Nobody's outside, right? No.
Outside.
But it's not Sandy outside, is it?
No.
Everybody's in the house? Yeah, the only one that gets out is Wispy, and he's right here, so. I hear somebody. Sandy? You didn't open the door, right? You're sure you haven't opened any doors? Okay. I hope he's right. Okay, let me see. Outer slender. Okay, misrepresenting the teachings. Right. Okay. Harming others or causing them bodily harm in a fit of anger. Sounds like David. Spreading false accusations, rumors, or gossip that damage another person's reputation or character. Yeah, this is. I started to tell the story about Michael. I guess he calls himself Mike McCoy. He's just to this day. I mean, this happened over 30 years ago, and he is just as furious about it as he was then. It's like he can't get over it for some reason. He really thinks I stole David from him, and David was not a gay guy. Okay, Michael started calling him on the phone, and back then, I'm talking like 1993 when I started going out with David, or just before, or something around the time I started going out with him. Michael had been talking to him on the phone and talking about the books he read. He never reads books. I mean, he's not that kind of guy, but he knew that David was an intellectual and read a lot of books, and I don't know. And so he started talking about he started reading books so he could talk to David on the phone. Some Buddhist had given him the number because Michael had like said, I don't know, he found an excuse to get the number because he was researching something, or I don't know, and he needed to talk to somebody that knew more about it, and David knew all about it. Something to that effect, right? And of course, it's flattering to David that somebody recommended him as the authority on some subject matter, and he's flattered that somebody, would want to do their research, use him as some kind of source for their research. This is what Michael set up. He knew he wanted to get close to David, and he was so sure he was gay. And and David had never met him or seen him or anything when this happened, but this was a mutual acquaintance that David respected, that had given him the number for this purpose. And so David's gonna be a professional Buddhist and be flattered and be kind and talk to the guy. And of course, Michael's like, oh, I'm calling him and we're talking and we have so much in common, and and he really thought he was breaking through with David. And I'm like, he's not gay. And then, I start going out with him. Okay. And I told David, Michael McCoy, he's been calling you, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, he's gay and he thinks you're gay too. And David's like, what? He's gay? Yeah, he's trying to get with you. David had no idea. Okay. It was under false pretenses that Michael McCoy was calling David. And it wasn't like David ever thought he was coming on to him. He just was being a courteous Buddhist, flattered that somebody had recommended him as a good source of information regarding some subject matter, and that Michael pretended he was really interested in. I don't know. I forget the exact subject matter and the exact situation, but Michael knows that he was trying to get close to David. And they were talking about books or talking about information. They weren't like, oh, maybe he was saying, oh, let's get some coffee. Let's have a discussion sometime. I mean, maybe Michael was starting to drop hints that would be a good idea or something. And David was like, fine, okay. I mean, but he did not think, he did not think that Michael was interested in him in that way. He thought he was genuinely interested in the subject matter that he called him about. They were discussing some book or whatever. And that's what I know, Dean. If you want to leave, feel free. This is my live stream. It's not yours. Okay. If you don't want to hear about David, I suggest you leave. Okay. Because I have to go through this about Michael McCoy, because Michael McCoy is still at war with me, and I don't know why. Okay. And I have to explain. I have to give the backstory.
He's not dead.
No. Who are you talking about? Michael McCoy. He's a guy. He's a Nichiren Buddhist who is Jill Shively's brother. Jill Shively's big public figure. She's fake witness in the O.J. Simpson case, Dean. Okay, this is her younger brother. They don't look alike because they have different fathers. Like Jill is older. Her last name is Shively, and he had a different name because his father, um, his last name is McCoy, and he's part African American. Jill, her father was Caucasian. They look different. He's actually Michael McCoy is actually kind of cute. He's a little overweight. Always has been a little overweight, but he's actually a good looking guy. Um, if he wasn't so goofy. He's just so goofy and ridiculous. He's just not cool. He's so obsessed. Mike, it was your protection that David didn't get. I mean, not that he would have ever gotten involved with anybody like you. I mean, you're flamboyantly gay. He would, the only way that he would like explore his bisexuality, and believe me, everyone in the SGI explored it in the old days. Okay. I mean, YMD, they popped pills and did everything together in the old days. Believe me. So it's not just David. Okay. But David did not want to be gay. He wanted a wife. He wanted a woman. He wanted to have a family. I mean, as unrealistic as that is, considering how he was behaving. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you want to have a wife and a family, why are you out there killing people and leading a double life? And of course, torturing me, at a certain point, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I was the most, my relationship with David was the most intimacy he had ever had with any other woman, with anyone ever. Woman, I mean, not that he ever had intimacy with men. It was always in a group situation with men, and it was secret, because there's that secret history in the SGI. Yeah, no, he but I want to really dissect this about Michael McCoy, because he is to this day, he's so furious at me. And I put him in my book, he did not do it. Ron Goldman's top secret widow finally sets the record straight. If you want to pre-order your copy, just go to Amazon, put my name in, Claire Elisabeth Elliott or Claire Elliott. He did not do it. All of those, or Ron Goldman Widow, you'll find the book and you can pre-order it. It's only $9.99. Get your copy now. I have a first edition. It's the second edition that you can pre-order. The first edition is no longer in print because I have some updates. Anyway, Mike McCoy is in that book. He's in my first edition, and he'll be in the second edition too, because Jill's in there. Can't have one without the other. But okay, Michael McCoy. It was under false pretenses that you were calling David, and of course, he was being kind. He had a reputation to uphold in the SGI at the time. He was flattered. It wasn't interest. It was just him being nice and being flattered, that people thought he was an authority on a certain subject matter. He was flattered. But yeah, when I told him what was really going on and what you were telling people behind his back, and I heard all about it. I heard you talk about it. You said it to me. He was shocked. He was literally shocked. He was like, "What? He's gay and he thinks he's gonna have something with me? Like this is a come on?" Like, and he actually talked to somebody about it and said, "Michael McCoy, is he gay? Is he coming on to me here? What's going on?" He actually talked to some fellow Buddhist or something to get to the bottom of it when I brought it to his attention. He was shocked that you were gay. He didn't know that was all that you were coming on to him. and he did not have any idea. And I mean, I can't even imagine David like going out with a guy. Like that would be thoroughly embarrassing to him. It doesn't have anything to do with you, Michael McCoy. It just has to do with David. He would never want to be seen as a gay guy ever. That would be that would be his nightmare. And he would never want to have a relationship with a gay man. Yeah, he had a low down thing with Michael Lafferman, his partner in crime, but that was like unofficial. It was like, Michael went out with girls, he went out with girls. It was just like this low down secret thing. And it was a group thing too. They brought other people into it. It wasn't an intimate thing at all, you know. So, because Michael McCoy, he wants intimacy. You do, right, Michael? You're that kind of gay guy. You were in love with. You're still in love with David. He's a serial killer, and he's now in a jail cell in Idaho. Okay, you were protected. Okay, not that, not that there was ever any possibility. Okay, really, there was no possibility. Okay, you have to understand, David, he was never going to go there. And he didn't know that's what you were trying to do. He just thought, oh, I'm becoming, he was just flattered that everybody thought he had mastered a certain subject matter. And, David is, yes, he's an intellectual. Yes, but, it's easy to compliment him. He's in that learning and realization thing. And that's why you approached him that way, hoping for something that he would never have given to you. But yeah, Michael, I guess he thought I stole David from him. I guess he thought he was on, he had gotten there first and I stole his boyfriend or something. And nothing could be further from the truth. David would never have gone out with a guy ever. He had no idea that's what was on Michael's mind. No idea. But Michael to this day hates me. And I mean, to the point where I fear, I'm like, oh, I better be like careful. I better have security in mind here. It was enough to deal with David. David for years had been, what's the word? Tracking me. And what's the word? What's a word when somebody is like following you everywhere and watching you all the time? What's that called? You're a not a groupie, but what is it called when you get a restraining order? What is a person that does that? The person who like it follows you and
yeah,
what is it? The term? Do you remember?
unwanted person.
Right, but I forget the term. It's like a legal term or something. You know what I'm talking about, and it's escaping me right now. When someone follows you and harasses you stalker.
Stalker, right.
Yeah, David was stalking me for years and years and years. And after I removed him from my life in 2003, he was stalking me forever. He was stalking Dean and me in Augusta for years before this, before Idaho. And he doesn't do that anymore, because he can't. He's in a jail cell, thank goodness. But yeah, he knew I was the one that would tell his story. He knew that it was me. And I guess that's why, it wasn't because David is not a healthy person. It wasn't because he wanted to be with me. I mean, yeah, he missed me. He realized how he felt about me when it was too late, but that wasn't why he stalked me. He stalked me because I was going to tell his story to the masses. A part of him wants everybody to know what he did as a serial killer. Every serial killer they don't want to die without everyone knowing what they did, getting credit for what they did. And that's the way my father died. And a part of him, it was not like when he was a young man, he wanted that. And there was a contract with the government. He signed a contract with the US government. They promised to never release his identity, never capture him or anything. They'd let him get away with it as long as he gave a certain percentage of his earnings to me. I think that was part of the deal. And he got away with, he died, and you know, without anyone knowing he was the Zodiac killer. And there was something very unsatisfying about that for him. There was a part of him who wanted the whole world to know. And, as a young man, he wanted to get away with it. But at the end of his life, it was a very different feeling, getting away with it. And knowing when he died that one day his family would find out the truth, and seeing me suffer, his actions, what he did to me, and seeing the effects it had on me in adulthood. It was a very unsatisfactory situation when he died. And I think David observed that because he knew who my father was, because I told him, and he observed everything himself and could see all the signs too. And he had an awakening. He didn't want to. He decided not to die that way. I really feel like he is turning himself. I mean, obviously he's in a jail cell now, and I feel like he rigged the Idaho 4 situation so he would get caught. A part of him did. The other part of him was pushing his limits with the authorities. I mean, he was like, "Oh, it's Moscow, Idaho, little baby town compared to LAPD." I fooled the LAPD. Of course, I could fool the Moscow PD. Is what he thought. Oh, I'll give them a little touch DNA on that knife sheath. Yes, if they get that, they can arrest me. I mean, like, a part of him was just like pushing it, like, oh, let me do this, and I know my car is on video, but it's dark, and I'll give him lots of evidence, but they won't get me. He was just kind of arrogant. He started his career in the early 70s. He just didn't think that little Moscow PD would ever crack the case, because LAPD, they really screwed it up. Are you all right, Dean? What? I know, little baby's asleep. We got a kitty here and a puppy here. Yeah, I really hope to, one day, help David tell his story, if anyone would care to listen. And I mean, that was the plan. And I do. I have a book. Nobody's read it, but you can pre-order it if you want to read it. I have it. It's not going to be released until next year. I haven't revised it yet. It's coming. When I have enough interest, when I get enough pre-orders, I'll release it. I'll revise it and release it. But until I get enough interest, I'm not gonna go to all the trouble. I'm so tired of busting my doing so much and getting nothing in return. I'm just so tired of that. Okay, so slander. Spreading false accusation, destructive criticism of fellow members, particularly when motivated by anger or desire for superiority. Yeah, it's like that's like learning and realization. They think people in learning and realization think they're enlightened. Like they don't think anyone can know better than them. They just have this superiority. That reminds me of Larry Shaw. Like he just thinks. I mean, he has no idea what enlightenment is, and yet he just thinks he knows it all. Oh, it's just not possible. That I've been in this organization since the early 60s. She wasn't born till 65. She can't know all that I know. Yeah, I just happen to be born into a lineage that goes way back. I'm like not the first fortune baby in my family. I'm the first official fortune baby born after my genetic father, Daisaku Ikeda, brought Nichiren Buddhism at the organization to this country. I mean, Nichiren Buddhism was already here in my family. My family was the first family officially, the first official family to chant in this country. That's why why every one of us that planned my birth selected my family. I didn't select Larry Shaw. Oh, hell no. I selected my family because they go back further than Larry Shaw, some surfer dude, hippie in 1963 or whatever age he was. Shakabuku, like I guess he was 17 years old or something, 16, I don't remember. Early 60s. He was just some surfer dude hippie who was taught to chant. And he thinks like he knows it all. So, destructive criticism of fellow members, particularly when motivated by anger or desire for superiority rather than genuine concern. Yeah, Larry has never had any kind of genuine concern for me. Couldn't, I'm the obstacle for his motivations and his goals. But your motivations and goals are not kosen-rufu. PEDO is not kosen-rufu. You have to be deranged to think that's any version of kosen-rufu. So that I'm talking about, this is outer slander. That was the last form of outer slander that is listed. Why slander is taken seriously? It blocks life's potential. Yeah, it blocks mine. It creates negative karma, not for me, for all of you. Well, I'm experiencing the negativity of it. Yes, because I can't do anything because they're keeping me down. I'm not in a position to be able to declassify myself. I mean, I'm doing everything a person in society can do. I can't do anything else. I'm not in government. I mean, I was working in government as a child, but I'm not in authority apparently, and I can't do anything. They're in authority. They're blocking me. Yeah, and I guess what's going to happen is this world is going to have to blow up or something, and then I will have control, right? Then I'll be an authority, right? I guess that's where we're headed. At this point, we're going to have World War III, and we're just going to blow up. I mean, I think that's what Putin is trying to push for. Well, Dina, much more, you understand that. It's not just president, Madam President. It's so much more. I have so many roles to play as the leader of the Bodhisattvas of the earth. I have many titles. It's hard to explain who I am. Right, and it this is why slander is taken seriously. It disrupts harmony. Yeah. You can't, nobody is left out in true kosen-rufu. There's nobody left out in kosen-rufu. And I'm being left out. I'm being pushed down. I'm being held back, because I'll be the end of the SGI. No, not the end of the good stuff. It's the good stuff we want to maintain and continue. We want that to continue on. Just none of the bad stuff. All the bad stuff, that has to end right now.
Exactly.
That's what's disrupting the harmony, not me. Slander within the Buddhist community and the Shanga creates conflict, distrust, and hinders unity, which is essential for collective peace. Yes. Overcoming slander. It says self-reflection. Instead of doubting the Gohanzan when challenges arise, one should examine themselves for any slanderous attitudes like jealousy, hatred, and or grudges. Yeah, Michael McCoy, I think you should examine your own life instead of looking at me. You know, the answer is not outside you. It's within you. I mean, over 30 years ago, you're actually more angry today, or well, no, you're as angry today as you were over 30 years ago about David, who's long, I mean, he's long gone. I mean, he's no longer in my life. Hasn't been for a while. I mean, he's on the outskirts of my life. There's still a connection, there's still a link. We have a history together, but he's not in my life today. You know, why are you so upset? I mean, let it go. You know, you need to go to the Gohanzan and look at that. Like, why are you so mad at me? What does that remind you of in your past, in your history? Like, what is that? What is that stimulating? And why? You need to like examine that. What happened to you? Did something happen to you when you were a child? Did somebody like take something away from you or stop something that was, or, you know, something that belonged to you, something that was yours? Because, you know, Michael McCoy, he was on my channel in the comments in my YouTube channel calling me a paranoid schizophrenic. And he doesn't know anything about paranoid schizophrenia. You know, and it's because Larry Shaw has spread rumors has abused his authority, mislabeled me, has called me delusional throughout the SGI, and claims that I'm some kind of patient of his that I've never, ever, ever been. I don't even know Larry Shaw. I've never had a full conversation with him except when I confronted him in 1999 about all that I heard about behind my back that he was saying and doing, you know, confronting him. And then we put together a dialogue, a public dialogue, and nothing, you know, leadership just shut it down, you know, didn't want, you know, I don't know. It's just horrible. And, you know, if Melanie Marians thinks she's the next SGI president, what a joke. She's the one, you know, she just can't believe, she couldn't believe what I was claiming, I guess. And, you know, I was talking about Vanessa, Larry, you know, this dialogue. It was Melanie Marians who was there, and with Larry, and of course Alan Simmons, my ex-boyfriend, was there too. And Alan Simmons, his first reaction was, he told me after, "You should be so proud of yourself," you know, or something to that effect. And then they got to him, and he was saying yeah, your first reaction, Alan, was the right one. But, you know, everybody shut it down. Melanie Marys, I know she thinks she's the next SGI president. Sorry, Melanie. I already beat you to that. I was born. I mean, not born. I became the original SGI president when I planned the SGI in my living room in Old Greenwich, Connecticut in 1974. And my father, my genetic father, SGI president Daisaku Ikeda, went to Guam, and everybody nominated him. So he became the only publicly known one. And then I, by default, became the other SGI president. So we don't need another SGI president. Sorry. You know, and you really dropped the ball on me. You know, you had an opportunity to help me reform this organization, and you dropped the ball. You just decided that you were going to bury this whole thing, and, you know, what a joke. Yeah. And you are going to be the SGI president? I do not think so. I do not think so. What a joke that would be. I don't think Melanie Marians understands what has happened in this organization. She's one of the few people assigned to a leadership positions that is not in the know, and she doesn't have any idea. And if she did, if a lot of people, if they only knew, they wouldn't want to be an SGI member. And this is the point. This is why the SGI has to keep me down. Because, if people knew the truth, they wouldn't, there would be no more SGI. Well, maybe you should think about that. Why is there an SGI? Why? Because I created it. And what happened to associate the SGI with all this stuff that you're so ashamed of that you want to keep secret? I don't know. You hijacked my creation. I created the SGI, okay? And you hijacked my creation and made it into this organization it was never meant to be. I mean, obviously it was part of the plan. Yes, it was meant to be this way. This is the way the SGI is. Dean, don't plug anything in. And I'm supposed to just be okay with that. I'm just, when are we going to break through? When is the truth going to finally prevail? Because it's the truth that heals. It's not lies. That's not kosen-rufu. A lie. I mean, do you even believe in kosen-rufu, SGI? I'm talking to the leadership. Do you believe in do you believe in world peace? Do you think it's possible? I question whether you even believe in it, because if you don't believe in me, then you must not believe in kosen-rufu, because that's what I'm about. I am kosen-rufu. And you're holding me down. No, we don't want kosen-rufu. We don't need it. We've got it covered. Our version of kosen-rufu is so much better than yours. Like, you can really control the truth, huh? Yeah. Yeah, you're Buddhist, aren't you? Yeah, that's your Buddha nature that's doing that, huh? Yeah. I think you need to like Mike McCoy, I think you need to go to the Gohansan and really chant and look at your life, and it's the truth that is Buddhahood, not some lie. I mean, do you really think that Buddhahood is a bunch of lies? I mean, do you even believe in Buddhahood? Do you think it's even possible? Are we just like making up fun facts for people to believe in, so we have an organization that makes money and pretends it's doing good on earth? I mean, I really don't understand why people in leadership and SGI think lies are kosen-rufu. Like, we gotta make sure this organization survives, and this organization built on lies. It was my organization and it was hijacked. And I'm here. I'm a member of the SGI. I've rejoined the SGI. It's my organization. And, you can make it right, but you're not, and you haven't. And here we are. Me just talking into my laptop here to zero audience. I mean, I don't know. Let me see if anyone is watching. No. Oh, 2 people. Hi. How you doing? Let me see if there are any comments. No. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I guess I could show it on the screen, but yeah, I mean, that's the comments there. Nothing. I don't know. Well, I ended up talking all about myself today. I don't, but this is, talking about my thumbnail savior. Yeah, I need a savior. I've been everybody else's savior, but the savior needs a savior. And as somebody who's enmeshed in all this earthly bullshit crap, somebody who's dirty, I got dirtied, but I was a victim. I need someone who's all part of this bullshit, to do something. And I'm wondering, maybe, because I've been remembering more about Jeffrey Epstein. And I remember how my people said, you are going to do this for Claire one day. you're going to help Claire one day. And I remember him like, oh, really? I mean, my people made him a very powerful person in dark circles, right? For a reason. It wasn't just to like create a monster like we did, apparently. It was to put somebody in that location, in that place in society where you can actually he can actually do something that nobody else can do, right? He's supposed to be dead, right? It's secret. I mean, he has freedom that he didn't have in life, right? And he's got all the connections, he's got all the it's my money he has and connections and everything. And yeah, we needed somebody who was, one of the devils, intermingled with all that stuff to be able, that's who I need to be my savior. And I really do think that it's Jeffrey Epstein, because I remember my people telling him, one day you're gonna owe her and you're gonna do this. And he's just like, okay, whatever. I just remember he was just like, all right, whatever that means. Okay. But that was before he had all the power and influence and all that he had. I'm sure he never thought he'd get caught, because we let him build up this thing, and he just thought he was invincible. He thought he had it going on, and then he got caught, right? It caught up with him, and he's in a jail cell. I bet that must have been a real shock for him, living in that mansion with every luxury you can imagine, right? This is what my people let him do. He built up this life, right? And he got so used to it. And then they took it all away, right? And then they helped him fake his death. It really makes a lot of sense to me. And Jeffrey, I'm help, will you please be my savior? I was everybody's savior again and again, but the savior needs a savior. And yeah, I know it's ironic. He's Jewish, right? I guess. I don't know what religion he ever practiced. Maybe he chanted. And that's probably why he never thought he'd get caught. Just like David got really arrogant. You get really arrogant after a while when you chant to get away with things. Just like the SGI. I mean, this is what happens to devils who chant. They think they're using the Gohansan, which is the object the true object of worship is, the scroll that Nichiren Buddhists chant to. And they think that they just get really, after a while, they get away. The Gohansan tricks them. They're like, we're not just chanting to a piece of paper. We're not just chanting to a scroll. This stuff is real. And the devils that learn to chant, they find out really fast that this is such a powerful practice, because they chant, they envision what they want, and it happens again and again. And their life just, everything they want to get away with their crimes, it happens. And this is how the Gohansan works to set up devils. It gives the devils everything they chant for. And it's a very powerful practice, but you don't want to be a devil and experience how the Gohansan traps you. It's like the Gohansan is very sneaky, and it's not like the Gohansan's alive. Okay, I mean, it's a scroll. It is alive. I mean, it when you chant to this scroll, it you unlock a power within your own life. It's within your own life. It's your Buddhahood within your own life. And many people walk around never activating their Buddhahood ever. And when a devil unlocks that and activates that Buddhahood, it's very exciting for them. And they get away with everything, and it gets better, and they get more successful than any other criminal or whatever. And then right when they least expect it, the Gohansan, and I'm talking about their own lives, the Buddhahood in their own lives that they've activated and built, and it like closes in, we don't have this practice to create criminals, okay? The Gohanzon, the Buddhahood wants to teach the criminal why not to be a criminal, okay? And then, so people like Jeffrey Epstein, he's at the end of his life and it comes down on him, right? Everything collapses on him, and, you know, David the same, right? And then, they have an awakening, and that's the whole point. Their Buddhahood wants them to wake up and understand the truth and, get to the next level, of enlightenment. And that's how the Gohanzon teaches them. That's how their own Buddhahood teaches them, because, we're human beings with all the 10 worlds. We're not in Buddhahood all the time. Not even Buddhas are always in Buddhahood all the time. I mean, that's a myth, We're human beings. But there is a predominant world that we feel most comfortable in. And, hopefully we feel the most comfortable in Buddhahood. Hopefully we experience Buddhahood enough to know what that world feels like and to prefer it to all the other ones, But yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, I'm waiting on you. And I do believe he must chant. I mean, he wouldn't have ever had such a dramatic life otherwise. It's his Buddhahood teaching him a lesson he'll never forget, lifetime after lifetime, and teaching all other criminals and all other people like him, awakening them. It's like, that's kosen-rufu. As people awaken, they affect all the other people they're connected to. And that's how world peace happens. That's the Nichiren Buddhist understanding of world peace. Well, I've been on here for almost an hour and a half. I can't believe it. And I've been just talking about me. I haven't looked at the news or anything. And I feel like this is a good place. I don't really like to go on the live streams, and I know I've done that lately. This is a good time to end it. So, Jeffrey Epstein, I'm waiting on you. Yeah, and he does have a Jewish last name. He's obviously, I guess he grew up Jewish, right? I think so. Grew up in Brooklyn. I don't know. There's a lot of Jewish people in Brooklyn in the old days when he was growing up. Yeah, I'm waiting on you. They don't have saviors in Judaism. They have a Messiah, right? Well, the Messiah needs a savior. I've done the savior thing. I'm done with it. I'm waiting on you, Jeffrey. All right. Well, give me a thumbs up because I deserve it. And, if you haven't subscribed, do so. If you can handle the truth, that is. All right. Well, peace out.